Don't be fooled by this boy's humble job, as a porter he actually possesses an extraordinary business mind. He deliberately chooses to work in wealthy neighborhoods, knowing that's where opportunities lie. One day, a sudden screech of brakes caused him to drop all his ice blocks. Instead of apologizing, a rich kid insulted him, humiliating him in public. As he watched the rich kid leave, unwilling to accept defeat, fate quietly began to turn. By chance, he found a newspaper in the weeds, telling the legendary story of Andrew Carnegie. Their childhoods were strikingly similar, both dropped out of school at 12, both looked down upon by the privileged. Carnegie became a steel tycoon worth billions. Inspired, Red vowed to become a billionaire himself. However, his father slapped him hard.
Get it in your head, son. You ain't ever gonna be rich. Only thing you're ever gonna be able to count on is coming up on the short end. That's what was handed me by my daddy, and I'm sorry, but that's all you're ever gonna get from me.
His father's conservative mindset built invisible walls around their poverty, clashing fiercely with Red's youthful ambition. Red decided to rebel. After visiting his ailing mother, he left a farewell letter and set out for the big city, hoping his absence would mean one less mouth to feed and more money for his mother's medicine. He never imagined this would be a permanent goodbye. At the train station, Red had no money for a ticket and tried to sneak onto the train, only to be caught. Luckily, a kind man helped him board. As dawn broke, they arrived in Texas, where Red's legendary journey began. When he jumped off the train, unsure where to go next, he happened to see a few passers-by and decided to follow them to a small town. A local farm was hiring 6 workers to build a cattle shed. To secure a meal, the frail young man desperately pushed to the front of the line. But the farm owner was looking for strong, muscular men.
Mister, hey, I'm your man. I can carry 50 pounds of ice up 3 stories.
So Red turned and tried to lift a nearby man who weighed over 200 pounds. The man didn't budge, but his comical attempt made the farm owner laugh. Seeing Red's enthusiasm, he decided to give him a chance. However, on his first day at the farm, the stakes Red drove into the ground toppled over easily. Still, he had a tenacious spirit. While others rested, he kept working on sharpening and shaping the wooden stakes. Seeing his dedication, a coworker named Gus brought him a ladle of cool water. They became close, one dreaming of becoming a billionaire, the other of owning the biggest farm. The more they talked, the more they connected. The midsummer wind swept across seasons and landscapes, from bustling markets to quiet alleys, and onto this dusty rural field. Sometimes gentle, sometimes warm, it blew away the fog of the past and rang in the future. A flower called friendship quietly took root. That night, while the workers played cards, Red sat in reflection. He realized that if he continued like this, he'd never become a billionaire. He feared becoming like his coworkers, still digging holes for a few dollars even in old age. So he sought out the farm owner and asked about the secret to success. The farm owner told him that success required many things, but above all, one must be a leader, not a follower. Red grasped this instantly and boldly promised they could finish the job a day early if the owner would share some of the saved wages with him. Though the owner admired Red's courage, he didn't believe it was possible. The next morning, when the others were woken by the work bell, Red was already gone. They found him at the farm, having started at 3 a.m., fully familiar with the workflow. He proposed a new system, teams of 3, one to dig and measure, another to place the stakes, and the third to install them. Like an assembly line, efficiency skyrocketed, and the project was finished a day early. Red earned a bonus.
I've never seen this much money in one place in my life.
You were the bellwether, kid.
The compliment stirred Gus's competitive spirit.
I don't begrudge you making some extra money, but that's the last time you'll ever one-up me, Slick.
The 2 ambitious young men had solved their food problem for now. It seemed like the small boat had passed through thousands of mountains, but ahead, the road remained steep and treacherous. Red took his first earnings to the post office, $20, went home for his mother's medicine, and he kept $10. Just then, he met someone wearing a gold belt, who spoke of Texas as a land rich in oil. Red instantly knew what that meant. But he didn't have the capital to invest in oil. As he brooded, a beautiful girl caught his eye. Some people, once seen, are remembered forever. Some feelings, once begun, are impossible to ignore. Red was so nervous he could barely speak, but Hannah didn't mind and invited him to the school dance. Red showed up full of confidence, only to find Gus had beaten him to Hannah. As the dance began, Hannah's friend pulled Red to the floor, using the partner swap to switch Hannah back to Red. Under the soft lights, it was as if nothing in the world could disturb their moment. They talked endlessly, and Hannah introduced Red to the school principal to help him audit classes. But Red dismissed school as a waste of time, slowing down his path to wealth. He cited several successful dropouts, but the principal argued that they were exceptions. Education was vital for Red's future. Feeling challenged, Red asked Hannah to name any 5-digit multiplication problem.
56,679 times 61.
4,457,419.
Red solved it in 3 seconds. It took Hannah 15 with pen and paper. He also diagnosed the principal's eczema as a reaction to the ficus tree nearby and accurately estimated his annual salary. The principal was left speechless. But Hannah was upset. "Why do you always act like you have something to prove? That just shows your insecurity and fear." Then she stormed off. Life is a game of difficult moves, and every mountain hides its own regrets. The next day, Hannah walked into class gloomily, only to see the new transfer student was Red. They exchanged a knowing smile, and as their relationship deepened, they became inseparable. Just as they were planning their future together, a radio announcement broke the news. Pearl Harbor had been attacked. Red didn't even know where it was, but he knew that when your country is attacked, you fight back. He lied about his age and enlisted. Despite Hannah's pleas, he promised to return alive. On the battlefield, a young soldier was too scared to deliver a message to the front. Red volunteered, snatching the letter and running ahead. But he rushed too far and was hit by a grenade. Just then, his rival Gus reappeared, dragging him to safety and tending to his wounds. Red's life was saved. Time passed, and 10 years of war weathered Red's face, but not his dreams. With his veteran's compensation, he bought the most expensive drilling rig, but after digging thousands of meters, no oil was found. His partner was furious.
Year, learn how to find other men oil, and it's my turn now. My gut says it's here. You boys weren't planning on an early supper because we're going down another 35, and we're gonna go down another 35 if we have to.
The crew thought Red had gone mad and quit. Back home, Red was dejected, his family on the brink of starvation. His father's curse, poor forever, echoed in his ears. The only light was his wife, still believing in his dream. But oil wasn't everything. Red had barely spent time with his son. Seeing his boy's lonely shadow, Red felt like a failed father. For the first time, he played baseball with him. When his son asked to learn how to throw a curveball, Red admitted he didn't know.
He's got no, what you call him?
That comment struck him. It was time to let professionals handle things. The next day, he hired a top geologist. The expert sniffed the ground, examined the soil, and pointed to a spot. When Red's axe struck the earth, hope finally broke through. They hit oil. Red returned home covered in mud. His wife didn't care. She hugged him tightly.
We did it! We did it!
Are we gonna be rich now, Dad?
Oh, Billy boy. Billy boy, are we gonna be rich? We're gonna be stinking rich!
After years of rivalry, they realized that only by joining forces could they achieve something greater. With oil at $2 a barrel and an estimated 50 million barrels under the farm, Red became a target. The former farm owner sued to reclaim the land. But dust can't cloud the sea, and a stone can't block the river. One dark cloud can't hide the sun. One setback can't defeat the determined. Red wasn't giving up. He found Howard Law School's top lawyer in the phone book. On court day, the lawyer turned out to be black and faced ridicule. But Red greeted him warmly. The lawyer won the case with a single
The
sentence.
deed was recorded exactly 2 years and 2 months ago. Texas law says that the statute of limitation of minimum rights dispute is 2 years.
Please tell me you knew that.
Well,
Well, how could you let this happen?
I told you, I'm a divorce lawyer.
With the lawyer protecting his business, Red's drilling empire flourished. But after the boom came a dip. A neighboring farm had 200 million barrels underground. Yet even at triple the market price, the owner refused to sell. So, on expert advice, Red bought mineral rights and drilled a slanted well to extract the neighbor's oil. Red remembered he must lead the times, but now oil fields were everywhere, and the market was saturating. Though rich, he wasn't quite a billionaire. To reduce costs, he decided to build his own refinery. He and the lawyer visited a failing refinery to buy it, but Red's arrogance offended the owners, who made him wait in the hotel for days. Waiting brought mystery and hope, but it demanded patience. As Christmas neared, the lawyer couldn't bear it. He risked being fired to ask Red to come home for the holidays. Red refused. Then, one morning, the deal came through. Red signed the contract. He was finally a billionaire, but he realized he had no one to share it with. In chasing his dream, he had neglected the people who mattered most. When he went home, his kids only asked for money. Even with his wife, meaningful conversation was rare. Then came terrible news. His lawyer had been in a car accident. Both kidneys were failing. Without a transplant, he wouldn't survive. Red discovered they shared a blood type and rushed to donate one of his kidneys. Days later, the lawyer woke up and asked, "What does it feel like to be a billionaire?"
Not a stitch different. Moving on forward, there was no one there to share it with me.
See, money's been your dream. Your legacy is your family. Your fortune is your wife.
Red took the message to heart. He used all his assets to start a foundation and gave each child $10,000 to help others. Most spent it recklessly, forgetting his words except for the second son, who chose to donate it back. Red and his wife exchanged a smile. This had been a test, and the son who passed it would inherit his legacy. So from now on, don't let greed blind you. Learn to see money for what it is, not something to chase endlessly or be enslaved by. The material wealth we leave behind is far less important than the values we pass on.